All right, Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. How are we coming in? How is the signal? If I can get a report, can anybody hear me? Oh, that's not good. Ah, here we go. All right, thank you, Brother Scott. And Brother Scott was over here assisting me. Brother Shane showed me how to start this thing, and I, of course, forgot some of it, so Brother Scott come rescue me. Thank you, Brother Scott. Anyway, get comfortable here. Bless y'all. Good to have you in the room tonight. Of course, as most of you know, your co-host tonight is Elder Becker. On this edition of Blog Talk Radio for Straitway Truth Ministries. Hallelujah. I don't see Brother Ugly in the room yet. I don't know what that's all about. I'm not sure. Anyway, bless y'all. Sure hope y'all enjoyed your Shabbat yesterday. Again, the simple but powerful message Pastor Dowell gave us on just not sinning. Sin not. Of course, that our Yah hates sin, and if we're his people... Oh, I see, Brother Paul. All right. I understand, Brother Ugly, technological glitches. But our Yah hates sin, and then we as people have to have the same apathy and aberration for it. Hallelujah. Oh, glory to the King. I'm sure by the title, if you didn't see it, but the title tonight, we're going to talk about hasty spirits, or the spirit of hastiness. And again, this is another one of these, like, I don't want to call it command performances, but I was working on something else, and this dropped in my spirit, and then I can see the practicality of actually speaking about this tonight, because honestly, I don't hear too many people ever getting deliverance for a hasty spirit. I mean, I've heard them getting deliverance for a spirit of impatience or stuff like that, but it is a spirit. It's a demonic spirit, and it absolutely operates in humanity, especially, in Americans in this day and age that, because we're on demand, we want everything now. And so I honestly say, I've been affected by it, just telling the truth, but with that, we're going to get going. Brother Paul will just have to go ahead and limp it, and hopefully that you can, get your end fixed there so you can do like you always do faithfully, post up the scriptures and definitions. Anyway, again, good to see y'all in the room, some of my faithful Israelite brothers and sisters. And of course, Passover is only a few weeks off, so I'm sure y'all excited as we are. We have a lot to do logistically to get ready, to prep for, because it looks like we're going to have a lot of saints coming this year again. And I sure hope the rain quits, because it's just been a muddy mess here. I mean, we just had a gob of rain again, and it's just, old Brother Cody from Minnesota just left last third day. He was here with us for like 3 weeks, and he said, Elder, I got to tell you, but I ain't never seen no place finally that, no, it's good, Brother Paul, hallelujah, glory to the King. He said, I ain't never seen no place so muddy as this, but he's talking about Tennessee, and not just the community, but it's muddy everywhere. But hey, hallelujah, we thank the Father for all the mercy he has on us. Anyway, glory to the King. So Brother Paul's up, so hey, you should be able to see the scriptures and everything. But with that, we're going to get started on, again, the topic tonight is called the hasty spirit, or spirit of hastiness. All right. These are some of the attributes or some of the attitudes or some of the manifestations of a hasty spirit. It causes one to make judgments based on only one side of the story, which is Israel. We don't do. It causes you to make quick judgments, exercising and promoting your own will over that of the Father. That's what a hasty spirit will cause you to do. Not waiting on the Father to order your steps. A hasty spirit is identified in somebody that can't bridle their tongue, always having to say a say in everything or have to say something. Hasty spirit is overly impulsive. It's rash. It does not consider the consequences to its words or actions. It just speaks without thought, basically, acts without thought. Reacts with unintended words and an emotional siege on the mind. Just spit stuff out without giving any thought. A hasty spirit answers out of place for a question not directed to them. I'm sure you all have that. You'll be standing, there'll be two of you, somebody will approach you and say, hey, and he's talking to you, and the other person with you decides they're going to answer in your place. That's a hasty spirit. A person which is tired, frustrated, stressed is the perfect breeding ground for a hasty spirit to operate in. When a situation or circumstance arise, they will speak quickly and rationally in order to put that situation or circumstance behind them. And thereby they may actually cause more damage than there was to begin with. So they're going to make things worse rather than better. A hasty spirit is also tethered together with a spirit of accusation or assumption, selfishness, presumption, impatience, arrogance, and pride, especially as, an example is a young person that's uninformed or a young person or somebody that's uninformed will go ahead and just speaks out of turn, because it's an impulse. I just got to say something. Speaking out of a hasty spirit can inflict a great deal of damage mentally and spiritually by the force and choice of words. A hasty spirit can be easily seen in one's work ethic and their attention to detail. Much of the time it's because those who are operating in this spirit believe that they are being inconvenienced, that they have more important things they would rather be doing. And, the term that we use in a lot of people around that I know, and growing up, we used the term half-assed. Just so they can meet their obligation, half-assed, and just get on them because they have something better to do. And so even with the spirits that I, mentioned that were tethered together with a hasty spirit, I don't know why I didn't have it. Anger is definitely one. Anger and wrath are definitely two of them that are right on top of the list. Why I left them off, I don't know. But anyway, they're included on that list too. So somebody that has a short fuse, instantly explodes, doesn't rationalize or doesn't think things through before speaking, that's a sign of a hasty spirit. Anyway, with that, we're going to get started. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 29. Proverbs 14:29. And it says, he that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but he that is hasty of spirit exalteth folly, or actually promotes folly, because of that quickness to become angry, that quickness to react in a wrathful, ill-mannered way, actually exalts an attitude of folly. And that's what this spirit will do, this hasty spirit will do, is get you to react out of anger, all right? And then actually you're in the realm of, because angry people speak things that they shouldn't say, they make judgments that they shouldn't do because they're acting out of that hasty spirit, and that's joined up with the spirit of anger or ill will or whatever the case may be. Okay, in the same chapter, Brother Paul, Proverbs 14, verses 16 and 17. A wise man feareth and departeth from evil, but the fool rageth and is confident. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated. So here again we have a perfect example in Proverbs that somebody that giving the example of a wise man, they leave the evil alone, and then they're saying that the evil here is a fool that rages, a fool that's confident, goes out and just speaks his mind, acts any way he wants to act without giving any thought and consequences for his action. Again, indication of a hasty spirit. All right, we're going to be using a lot of the Apocrypha, and I hope I got all the right ones instead of a different book tonight. But bless you, Brother Steve. Looked like you all had trouble too, huh? I don't know, maybe it's something up in the north up there. Who knows? All right, Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 11, verse 7 and 8. Sirach 11, 7 and 8. It says, blame not before thou hast examined the truth. Understand first, then rebuke. Clear, precise instructions. Don't go off the hill. Don't go on a crazy. Don't start throwing out judgments out there. Examine carefully what's in front of you, what just took place, the things that were spoken in your ears. Understand first, clear instruction, and then rebuke if it's necessary. And verse 8, answer not before thou hast heard the cause, neither interrupt men in the midst of their talk. Again, all examples of somebody that might be operating in a hasty spirit. This is actually how to suppress that spirit and keep it from attacking your mind or actually becoming, entering in. Just take your time, think about what you're going to say, how you're going to act, and then minister correction, instruction, rebuke, reproof, whatever the case may be. All right, the word hasty is the Hebrew 71:16. I have it both in the Strong's and the Brown Driver Briggs. Again, it's the Hebrew 71:16. It's from the Hebrew 71:14. It means short, whether in size, number, life, strength, or temper. Few, hasty, small, soon. And in the Brown Driver, it means short, impatient, in size, number, life, strength, etc. So the two definitions are pretty close together. All right, back in the book of Sirach again, chapter 4, verse 29. Be not hasty in thy tongue, and in thy deeds slack and remiss. So again, another warning, don't be quick to speak, don't be quick to act, and your works and what you're doing with the labor of your hands, don't be slack, don't be remiss. Again, it's entering in the kind of the realm of a fool. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty only to want. A diligent person, they'll think on the ways to improve himself and his environment around him, or how to make things increase by giving careful thought and action to his moves. And a diligent person knows how to exercise patience and timing in matters, but a hasty spirit wants it all right then and there, and is prone to bouts of impatience, never seems to be able to get ahead. Got to have everything now. This is that fast food generation that we live in. That spirit, hasty spirit, is definitely, that's why you're seeing so many examples of road rage now and hearing so many examples, because, the spirit of impatience got so much to do. The devil presses so hard on people's minds. Got to be here, do this, do that, do that. And believe me, I've felt that its presence on more than one occasion. Especially, behind the wheel. And that's what I'm telling you. Because everybody down south, I think that the whole motto down here is slow. They think slow, they eat slow, they talk slow, they walk slow, and they drive slow. So, Jesus help them. The Father helping me, though. Thank you, Father. Glory to the King. Proverbs chapter 28, 20, verse 20, 28:20. A faithful man shall abound with blessings, because he's diligent in what he does. He's got a determination to please the Father, please do the works of the kingdom in righteousness, doesn't have a grudge about doing anything, and he's going to abound. You're going to see the blessings coming upon him. You have no farther look than our shepherd, Pastor Dowell. A perfect example of the blessings that abound, and because of his faithfulness towards the Most High, we get to receive some of the blessings. So hallelujah. But he that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent. Sirach chapter 11, verses 11 through 13. Sirach 11 through 13. I am trying to slow down because I've been told I tend to talk too fast or go too fast. So I'm really trying to make an effort to slow down. I'd be the last one to think that I speak quickly. Anyway. All right. Sirach 11 through 13. There is one that laboreth and taketh pains and maketh haste, and is so much more the behind. And why is that? This kind of labor is wrought in impatience and will produce so many mistakes that the person acting hastily will have to find himself going back over the same project over and over and over and again. The expression, take your time, do it right the first time, because you actually expend more energy going back, redoing things that you didn't have to do it, what I believe, honestly, whatever capacity that the Father gives you in any type of skill level, it's imprudent on you that that you do the best job that you possibly can, because if the Father gave you the skill, you're not only letting him down, but you're letting down your fellow man as well, and the saints. Again, there's another that is slow and hath need of help, wanting ability and full of poverty. Yet the eye of Yahweh looked upon him for good, and set him up from his low estate, and lifted up his head from river, so that many that saw it marveled at him. We have a lot of people come here on working trips, on vacations. Help me, Jesus. We don't do vacations. Anyway, on working trips, ministry trips, they come down to the Straitway, the community experience, and lend a hand, faithful brothers. And, sometimes we can see those that are lacking in certain areas, but we know that the desire is to actually build skills, to develop skills so they can be a benefit to the body, and they're actually open there to receive instruction. They're not the pretenders that think they know. We've had them too that tell you they know what they're doing, and then they want to prove their merits, so they fly through a project and totally just butcher it up, and then we have to redo it again and ask them what this for. But these other people, we can recognize that character. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 1 and 2. This is Ecclesiastes. All right, not Sirach, but Ecclesiastes. Chapter 5, 1 and 2. Says, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of Yah, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Meaning just speaking out of turn, speaking without thought, not hearing what's actually being said, because faith cometh by hearing. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before Yah. For Yah is in heaven and upon earth, therefore let thy words be few. A wise man, he don't say too much. He spends more time listening and hearing, so he can gain, so he can actually learn, rather than just, I've had an expression I said for years that, if you're so busy talking all the time, you ain't got no time to hear. So how can you be taught anything? James chapter 1, verse 17 through 20. James 1, 17 through 20. It says, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, in whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Of his own will he begat us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of Yah. Not acting in a hasty spirit. Again, it comes through the mouth, it comes through the actions, the manifestations, and what you do and don't do. Ecclesiastes again. Ecclesiastes, not Sirach. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verses 8 and 9. It says, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. See how it's all joined together. Anger, foolishness, fools, that hasty spirit, because an angry person, a foolish person will just act on impulse, will just speak their mind, believe that they have, because they've got some thought in their head, they have the right to spew whatever they want out of their mouth, and what that's, especially when you have contention, I don't know how many you saw this contentious issue that could have been overly contentious with that fool from Nashville that time, are now, as we learned lately, King David or whatever he calls himself now. But you know how Pastor handled that situation. Absolutely. If that wasn't a beautiful example about how to be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath, I don't know what was. And being patient in spirit. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, 1 through 3. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, 1 through 3. Oh, yeah, Brother Ugly. He used to, come on. Yeah, I think Pastor talked about it a little bit. He didn't go into great detail, but I think he mentioned a little bit on Blog Talk. But, yeah, somebody that now thinks they're actually a King David. So, anyway, I don't know. Crazy. It's just unimaginable that the kind of, I mean, that's how powerful these strong delusions are, man, because they receive not the love of the truth. I'm telling you, they are sent these strong delusions, and they're going to live it and believe it too. All right, Ecclesiastes 5, 1 through 3. It says, keep thy foot when thou goest in the house. Oh, wait, didn't I just read that one already? No, keep thy house. Well, what in the world? All right, give me a second here. I don't know what happened. Oh, I already did that one. I got it on my notes twice. All right. We talked about Ecclesiastes 5 already. All right, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 20. And it says, seest thou a man that is hasty in his words? There is more hope of a fool than of him. Again, this type of hasty spirit just runs at the mouth with absolutely no restraint on the words coming from their lips, nothing entering into their conscience at all about what is being said, regardless of the consequences. You know, life and death is in the power of the tongue. And somebody that's dealing really entrenched in a hasty spirit, I mean, again, it covers more than just the words we speak, our actions, you know, in judgments, in work performance, in, you know, just try to get some self-relief or something. But, you know, every time that spirit acts out, there's always some type of damage control that has to be done someplace. So, I mean, that's, you know, you get an offense, right? The offense enters in for whatever reason, and this hasty spirit, you know, rather consider the fact that they have something working in them, they don't give no heed to nothing. They're going to go out and take down as many people as they can, go spit in as many people's ears without even thinking about the consequences. And I don't know what it is that, you know, that people don't really consider the consequences for their actions or what they say. I mean, I've had enough whoopings over the years to know that it's high time, me personally, that I really need to take more heed, earnest heed to the things that I say, and not be hasty because the situation, you know, presents an opportunity to speak something that, or make a judgment without more knowledge, or, you know, you all know what I'm talking about. You've been there. So, I mean, everybody should be able to identify with the workings and manifestations of a hasty spirit. All right, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 15. Proverbs 12, verse 15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkens unto counsel is wise. Against their how often that the fool is directly related to, or playing the part of a fool, is attached to this hasty spirit, somebody that's acting in a hasty, angry manner. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 11. A fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it in till afterwards. Again, so now you're dealing with somebody. You can identify somebody that just got to speak with no restraint. You're dealing with not only a fool, but somebody that's being under the influence of a hasty spirit. Daniel chapter 2, verses 1. Okay, Daniel 2, verses 1 through 15. 1 through 15. Daniel chapter 2, verses 1 through 15. And I have to do a little bit of reading to finally get to the point. And you all know the story here, but we're just going to go over it to show the type of reaction that anger causes, or hasty spirit causes when anger enters in. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed a dream, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. So the king is troubled. He's had some dreams, and he's pretty anxious to get. He wants to get down to what's going on here. Okay, he wants to know why he's obvious. He's looking for a resolution because he's troubled. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. And the king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If you will not make known unto me the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. I mean, this man he wants the interpretation that badly. I mean, he's actually threatening lives because this thing has got him so bound up and troubled. But if you show the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered again and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation of it. The king answered and said, I know of a certainty that you would gain the time, because you see the thing is gone from me. But if you will not make known unto me the dream, but there is but one decree for you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me, till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation thereof. Well, I mean, first of all, I don't know if these guys were actually in the right frame of mind. You know, what are they trying to impress the king or what? You know, you got to ask yourself, knowing that they've probably seen this man's manifestation of anger, actually put themselves in that kind of position to volunteer something that they can't perform. That is a fool. But anyway, the Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore, there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asks such things at any magician or astrologer. So now they're pleading their case, man. Well, this thing has never been, so I don't know why they offered it. Now they find out they get the death sentence. Now it's a whole different story, Now they're doing what they can for their life. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none that other that can show it before the king, except the gods whose dwelling is not in the flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain. They sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. I don't even know why, because Daniel wasn't in there. Just, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Well, they wanted to kill everybody that was a wise man. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. And he answered and said unto Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. So all of a sudden, Daniel, just out of the blue, they're rounding up all the wise men, and he's like, what in the world just going on here? I know this man. All of a sudden, he's got some new decree out there. He wants everybody dead. So this is another example of how anger and somebody that is bound, doesn't matter the consequences of what happens to the people around him. He's going to know. He's going to get his answer one way or the other. And there ought to be more restraint and more carefulness, especially among those which are in places of rulership and overseers, because they affect the people, more so, because, as the elders and the pastors in this ministry, the Father has called us to a position, and of course the teacher Shane as well, has called us to positions of, authority. He saw fit to ordain us as whatever title position that we're in. So more people, especially those that know us well, have a trust and a fondness for us, and if we use wrong speech, we can affect a multitude more, greater than just one or two people around you. I mean, word travels. Whatever, if something was said, you take an example anywhere. If Yah forbid, if if I was up there, which I rarely ever do, but behind the pulpit speaking, you know what I'm saying, and spoke something out of context or something entered my mind, and I didn't take it into captivity, the thought, and I spoke it and expressed it, and even it might be a doctrinal issue, anything, and it could could affect a lot of people in the wrong way because they actually trust the source, if you know what I'm saying. All right, Sirach chapter 4 verses 29 and 30. Now I got this one twice again, for Pete's sake. All right, skip that one, Brother Ugly. Sirach chapter 32, verses 7 through 9. Sirach 32, 7 through 9. All right, this is, all right, speak, young man, if there be need of thee, and yet scarcely when thou art twice asked. Well, obviously, because they're young. They don't know. They haven't experienced life. They don't know the knowledge. They don't have the knowledge of those that have been in anything for a while, especially in the assembly of the Most High, especially in Israel, I mean, you get somebody new coming in it. They can be, an older age, but they can still be new in their understanding. So, this isn't just regards to physical age. It's also to where the heart is, where the mind is, the tenure, that sort of thing. But if there's obviously something that, if there be need of thee, and then the door is open and allowed, yet scarcely when thou art twice asked. Let thy short speech be short, comprehending much in few words. Be as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue. If thou be among great men, make not thyself equal with them, and when an ancient men are in place, use not many words. It's all about holding back that impulse because we are a proud generation. It talks about in Proverbs about there's a generation that curseth their mother, their father, and how lofty are their eyelids. They're walking in a great deal of pride, so they feel like they have the right to just speak their mind whenever it's comfortable for them. It's a dangerous place to be, and it can get somebody either that's young in mind or young in age in a very bad way. When I was growing up, I enjoyed, like Pastor, I would talk to the old people all the time. I just like to sit down and listen to their stories, what they had, their experiences. Even when I do phone calls, when I get to talk to some of the older mothers or, the aged people, and sometimes there's some very valuable information that they have. So I like to hear what they have to say. All right, let me see. We are still in the book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 4. And then we're going to Sirach 18:19. All right, Sirach 33:4. Prepare what to say, so thou shalt be heard, and bind up instruction, and then make answer. Again, preparation of the mind, being prepared so you're not uttering like a fool, just speaking out of impulse. So if you hear something, sit back, take it in, think on it, and then guard your words. Be conscious of what you're saying when you speak them. Remember, the point is, you want to lay a stumbling block for your brother or sister. And one thing about a hasty spirit that I've seen and experienced, not only myself, but watching others that walk, and there's never an apology. Rarely will they ever go back and repent. The damage is done, and they just expect you to understand whatever because, a fool is right in his own mind. He can express whatever he says, however he wants to say it, and that's, that's not his fault because in his mind he thinks he's speaking right or acting right. Okay, chapter 18, verse 19, Sirach. Learn before thou speak, and use physician or ever thou be sick. So again, learn, take knowledge, get understanding, and then open your mouth. And people actually recognize that. I mean, you can obviously hear it in Elias here. He does a lot of reading, a lot of research, and when he speaks on subjects, you can tell that he's actually put some time into speaking about it. He just doesn't pretend that he knows the answer for something and just, it's not like there are brothers in this ministry that I know of that, they'll get one scripture in their mind and the proverbial light will come on. All of a sudden some grand doors open, they get some huge revelation, and they will go off and talk, and just start speaking about what they believe this personal revelation is all about without ever once considering the consequences of what their words might be doing. And believe me, I've had to actually do a lot of damage control on people that have heard things, somebody speaking foolishly, hastily, without regard for those sitting around them, and had to go back and do damage control because it really caused people to stumble. And I went to them people and told them too, man, hey, you got to, All right, back in Sirach again, chapter 28. Let me see. We always take a ministry break. I don't even know what time it is. Oh, yeah. All right, let me finish this, and we're going to take a ministry break. Sirach chapter 28, verses 10. 10 through 13. Sirach 28, 10 through 13. As the matter of the fire is, so it burneth, and as a man's strength is, so is his wrath. And according to his riches, his anger riseth, and the stronger they are which contend, the more they will be inflamed. Yeah, you ever you've seen the example of some of these, rich people and people in high places of status, man, they don't care. They don't care what the damage is, the consequences. They don't give no regard, because they're there to make money. So if you're not going to help us accomplish whatever manner they're acting to you, they don't give a crap. They can just fire you, get somebody else. They have a goal, and whatever damage happens along the way, oh well, it's the casualties, oh well. But that's the way some of these folks really display themselves. And a hasty contention kindleth a fire, and a hasty fighting sheddeth blood. Again, just doing things on impulse, not giving things over to reason and consideration. If thou blow the spark, it shall burn. If thou spit upon it, it shall be quenched. And both of these come out of thy mouth. Life and death, right? You can either light it or put it out. Curse the whisper and double tongue, for such have destroyed many that were at peace. This one really caught my attention simply because I've read it, but then it's like, wait a minute. So it actually tells you, it gives a direction to curse those that are whispering and double tongue. It kind of reminds me, like Pastor says, when, if there's something going on and he's needing to find out, he'll go in his prayer closet, petition the Father to, lay something on these people so it can be identified, lay a sickness on them or whatever, so he can find out, where the sin is coming from. All right, I'm going to go back and we're going to take a short break, Sister Wenda's ministry break, as soon as I can find it. And we'll be right back.
Shalom, this is Sister Wenda. I hope that all of you are enjoying the broadcast that you're listening to right now. We appreciate each and every last one of you, our faithful listeners and supporters of the Straitway Truth radio broadcast. We try to make sure that we do our due diligence and do our best to ensure that you have the best broadcast as well as the truth coming to you in the hour that we're living in right now. If you would like to help us in this endeavor, your offering will be greatly appreciated in the work of the ministry of the Most High Yah. Our mailing address for your gift, offering, or letter of support is Charles Dowell Jr. That's Charles Dowell Jr. And Dowell is spelled Dowell. 506 Ellington Drive. Ellington is spelled Ellington. P.O. Box 32, Lafayette, Tennessee, and Lafayette is spelled Lafayette, 37083. Again, our mailing address is Charles Dowell Jr., 506 Ellington Drive, P.O. Box 32, Lafayette, Tennessee, 37083. If you would like to contact us by way of phone, the country code is 1, area code 615-688-3025. That's 1-615-688-3025. You may leave a message there, and, be the Father's will, we will do whatever we can to try to return your message. It is our hope and our prayer that as you continue to listen to the Straitway Truth Ministry, and as you apply the teachings of this ministry, that you are finding peace and growth within you, your family, and life as well. Please tell others so that the truth may also have an impact and touch others' lives so that they may enjoy the benefits of the truth of Jesus Christ just like we all are. Shalom, the King is coming.
Yes, the King is coming. That was a beautiful ending for the message, Sister Wynn. I think everybody when we play that, I think that's repeated every single time. Hey, the Bible says comfort one another with these words, right? Hallelujah. All right, back into it. Again, talking about being hasty in spirit or a hasty spirit. Back in the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 1, verse 29 and 30. And it says, "Be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest." Let's see. Hey, are we on the air? It looks like the chat board just went goofy. Okay, there it is. All right, hallelujah. Glory to the King. "Be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, take good heed what thou speakest." Meaning actually be aware before you utter something. Give it good thought, capture your ideas, take rule over your own heart, your deceitful heart, and think about what you can say instead of just spitting something out. Because like a hypocrite, it says here, they'll say one thing. These two verses have to do in the way of boasting and exalting yourself, and of course the end is not good. But the instruction here in people that operate in this impulse under this hasty type of spirit actually put themselves in a position where they're going to come to great dishonor. But we'll end up reading verse 30. "Exalt not thyself, lest thou fall and bring dishonor upon thy soul. And so Yah discover thy secrets, and cast thee down in the midst of a congregation, because thou camest not in truth to fear the Most High, but thy heart is full of deceit." Thinking themselves to be something when they're nothing. All right, Genesis chapter 25, verse 27 through 34. If there's any one account in the Bible that speaks more about a hasty spirit and the damage it causes, probably this one. I mean, there's many examples, but this is probably one of the clearest and most damning. All right, Genesis 25, 27 through 34. "And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob." So we already know by these first two verses that Esau actually had the favor of his father. All right, and you obviously know Esau knew that. I mean, they grew up together. Who knows what the conversation was, but the Bible accounts for here that Isaac loved Esau. "And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob," now this is a pierced definition because he's driven by impulse, he's driven by physical things going on in the body, appetite problem, "And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright do to me?" Wow, all that because of few words, an impulse, just because of what he had going on in his mind and his body, the feeling, the expression, the emotion, because he was hungry. He spoke out of a hasty spirit and gave away his birthright without thinking about any of the damn consequences. And we know the end of Esau. Wow, just out of them few words. And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. And Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Again, speaking in a hasty spirit. Let the thing get a hold of him. He wasn't acting in a spirit of anger. It was just impulse. He just spoke in the moment. Didn't care, didn't think about it, had no regard for his future, figured it would just be overlooked because, come on, he already knew that, that Isaac loved him. And so I don't know what he was thinking. He was thinking that, this was all going to be overlooked and that he would still get the reward of having the inheritance of the firstborn. But, we can obviously see that, ouch. So be careful what you say. Look at the damage here. This is eternal for Esau, the Edomites, because of these few foolish words. Numbers chapter 20, verses 1, Numbers 21 through 12. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, in the desert of Zin in the first month, and the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and Aaron. Remember, the two, especially Moshe, the one that was raised up by the Father to be a deliverer, proven himself time and time again. And here we coming into, there's some physical things going on in the body, pressing against the people, right? And boy, the body starts talking to you when it's not comfortable. Believe me, I know. I mean, some of you saw the pictures of that wreck, 10 years ago on Facebook. So I know what it means to be in pain. And I'm telling you what, you get to the point sometimes where you want to do anything just to escape it, because it's like it just never goes away. You can't get comfortable. And I'm sure, I hope not, but I'm sure that some of you have been listening and have experienced that type of thing. But it is a motivator. Pain is definitely a motivator because everybody likes to feel comfortable. All right, and there was no water for the congregation. They gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. And the people chode with Moses and spake, saying, so that they're challenging him. They're tempting Moses because they're upset. Would Yah that we died when our brethren died before the Most High. So these people are totally speaking without regard for anything. And all it is now is about their own personal selfish ways. And why have you brought up the congregation of Yahweh into the wilderness that we and our cattle should die there? And I'm telling you, you get to the point where you start questioning openly and that type of dishonor for the people that the Father's ordained to put in authority. I mean, I've seen Pastor Dowell set people down more than one time, and they got out of place. And I've seen the elders. I've seen Elder Rufus do it. I've talked to people about it and got on them because they've openly, just without regard of speech, just speaking and actually, dishonoring the men of Yah. What a dangerous place to put yourself. But now they're questioning Moshe like it's all his fault. They wanted to get out. They wanted... The Father gave him a deliverer, and you know the whole story, but wow, how fast. And wherefore have you made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place? It is no place of seeds or figs or vines or pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. Everything that satisfies the flesh again, all the comforts of life. I mean, the Father said clearly he's going to try us. Man, oh boy. And Moses and Aaron went to the presence of the assembly under the door of the tabernacle. The congregation fell upon their faces, and the glory of Yahweh appeared unto them. I mean, they were going there, on behalf of the people. They weren't, seeking to be protected from, the nation, from the Israelites. What they were doing was they knew that what these people were doing. They knew that the tribes of Israel were actually putting themselves in a very dangerous, deadly place, and they were actually in there on their faces doing intercession for them, And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, take the rod and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water. And thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock, so thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts to drink. So not only was the Father dealing, how do I want to say this? He was also testing Moses, too, because he knows what he's going to do. But the instruction clearly was, speak unto the rock, right? And Moses took the rod from before Yahweh as he commanded him, and Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, hear now, you rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? Okay, so now you could tell Moses was still harboring this. He was upset with the people. He was angry for them, angry at them because they... Again, I mean, I've seen this so many times, and it's disheartening that, the amount of stuff that this ministry has to deal with because, people can't be civil. They can't abide by the instructions of the book. They can't. All of a sudden, the preaching fails them, and then they have to put, especially Pastor Dowell and the elders and people that have to be judges, and they put them in these situations. I mean, how unappreciative is that show? I mean, what kind of love do you have for those that labor in word and in deed? And people have to ask themselves. I used to, so that's why I'm so careful. I really try never to put Pastor Dowell in a position where, or my brethren for that Pete's sake, where they actually have to rebuke me. I'd try to have so much consideration for what they're doing and what they have going on. So that's just me. That's what I try to do. Do I fail sometimes? Yeah, I mean, but it's rare. I put it that way. So at least I hope I'm not deceiving myself. I have to get somebody else's report. Okay, hallelujah. Anyway, glory to the King. Here now, you rebels, must we fetch you the water out of the rock. But the people put Moses in position. Should he have broke? No, but I mean, when you're the spirit of man can only take so much. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beast also. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron, because you believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, you shall not bring this congregation to the land which I have given them. Because Moses acted out of a hasty spirit, out of an impulse, because he was angry, and when he smote the rock instead of speak to it, this was his judgment. He never got to go into the promised land. So this is how much damage even somebody with that much esteem and somebody that was in a position of Moses, can bring Yah's judgment upon him. So everybody needs to be careful from the greatest to the least. But they're all important in the body, okay? All right, Mark chapter 14, verse 27 through 31, and then verse 54 in the same chapter, and verses 66 and through 72 in the same chapter. This is talking about Peter and his impulsive behavior. And Jesus saith unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I shall smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. And this is Yahshua, Jesus talking. But after them I am risen, I will go before you into Galilee. But Peter said unto him, although all shall be offended, yet will I not. So he's got this attitude in him. He's got this pride thing going, believing that he's actually more than what he actually had going on inside him. And, his heart deceived him. So he spoke hastily. He didn't give it any thought about what the Messiah just said. He's just going to go ahead and volunteer his words without regard for his own well-being or from those around him. But he's putting out a boast out here. And Jesus saying unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this day, even this night, before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. But he spake the more vehemently. Again, he didn't consider. This is coming from Yah manifest in the flesh, telling him, Peter, this is what you're going to do. And Peter got the more emboldened and the more rash and the more impatient. He's going to try to convince Yah, the one that knows his heart, that that he's got this together, right? I mean, come on. Can't you see that? I mean, don't we do that too as Israelites? Boy, oh boy, I tell you what. You give perfect sound counsel and, hey, don't do this, don't do that, stay away from this. But, oh, no, man, I'll show you. I'm going to show you. Jeez, and go out and start speaking. Remember, a fool uttereth all his mind. Anyway. But he spake the more vehemently. If I should die with thee, I will not deny thee. I will not deny thee in any wise. Likewise, also said they all. So they're all in this. So Peter gassed everybody up. He got all the disciples just. He's got them all agreeing now. Hey, if Peter can do it, we can do it. So they all speaking out of a hasty spirit. Yeah, Anyway, going down to verse 54. And Peter followed him afar off, even into the palace of the high priest, and he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire. So we see a progression of events here. And then going to verse 66 through 72. And as Peter was beneath in the palace, there cometh one of the maids of the most of the high priest. I'm sorry, verse 67. And when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked upon him and said, and thou also was with Jesus of Nazareth. But he denied, saying, I know not, neither understand I what thou sayest. Now, he was so impulsive, so proud, that he spoke, trying to convince the king of the whole earth that this is the way it's going to be. And you cannot, I'm telling you what, now he's not even considering. Now he's speaking again without giving any regard or anything, like you're going to get away with something. You ain't going to get away with anything with the Most High. But he denied, saying, I know not, neither understand I what thou sayest. And he went out into the porch, and the cock crew. And the maid saw him again, and began to say to them that stood by, this is one of them. And he denied it again. And a little after that they stood by again. And they that stood by, oh, Jesus, help me, Jesus. They that stood by said on again to Peter, surely thou art one of them, for thou art a Galilean, and thy speech agreeth thereto. But he began to curse and swear, saying, I know not this man of whom he... Wow, he denied the Messiah right there. You talk about grace and mercy. Again, speaking, he's angry, he's rash, he's impulsive, giving no thought to the conscious thought to the words he just speaking or things that he just admonished and agreed to, right? And now he's actually denying Jesus. And the second time the cock crew, and Peter called to mind. All of a sudden, all the stuff coming back to him. The words that Jesus said unto him, before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. And when he thought thereon, he wept. I'll tell you, if there's anybody that had great mercy on them, but turned out to be a great apostle, that was Peter. Oh boy, good thing the Father knows the thoughts and the intents of a man's heart and don't judge as man judges. Okay, Psalms chapter 31, verses 21 and 22. Blessed be Yahweh, for he hath showed me his marvelous kindness in a strong city. For I said in my haste, I am cut off before thine eyes. Nevertheless, thou heardest the voice of my supplications when I cried unto thee. Here we're coming into a situation with Dawid where, he's going through some stuff, and he's starting to fall. The thoughts of his mind, or he's starting to lose the trust and the confidence that he had in Father. And he just said in his haste, I'm done. The Father must have left me. I'm cut off before his eyes. Just speaking, I was not waiting on the Most High. Sirach chapter 19, verse 4. Sirach 19, verse 4. He that is hasty to give credit is light-minded, and he that sinneth shall offend against his own soul. So to be impulsive, and to go up and pat somebody on the back, they haven't been proven as a friend or tried or tested in the fellowship. And, and the Bible actually says in Sirach, you're light-minded. You're not even really considering that it takes people a while to mature. You can give, if somebody's worthy to give some praise for something, did or something, yeah, absolutely, but let it be out of another man's lips. But, be considered before you actually start giving people pats on the back, if it's actually the right time. James chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. James 3, 1 through 8. And this is just a reminder about the dangers of the tongue. My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we must receive the greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. And again, it started out right at the beginning. We will receive a greater condemnation. Those that are in a position where they have to speak more. Pastor already said he made a reference to that in service. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but talked about receiving the greater condemnation. So he's careful about how he addresses Yah's people with a carefulness, because he has to answer the Father for, if he was to speak rashly or hastily, put something out there and it caused some damage someplace, and he knows he has to answer that, so he's very careful and guarded about the words he speaks. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man. So if you want to know how you're getting on to perfection, man, don't offend in word. And able also to bridle the whole body. You actually have that control over your tongue, and what you say and what you speak and how you say it. Well, we put bits in the horses' mouths as they that that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Behold also the ships which though they be so great and driven of fierce winds, yet they are turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listeth. I got to get these glasses. Man, that's better. Whew. Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasts of great things. Behold, how great a matter of little fire kindleth. Just a little tiny one. That was spoken about, I think, was in one of the verses in Sirach that we talked about how, you can these words can create a fire, or you can actually spit on them, to douse a fire. That's how powerful the tongue is. The tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body and set on the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. So if you can get control, identify hasty spirit and impulsive spirit, I have to say something spirit, I have to act spirit, I think I have all the answers type of spirit, that's all stemming from a hasty spirit. So you can actually get a heads up. If it's a big problem, get the damn thing cast out, because it's got that much control over it and you can't stop yourself. But knowing that the tongue has this type of damage, what it can actually set the world on fire, can change attitudes and the course of things, being considerate, thinking before you speak, a very important thing to do. When this month, it looks like we're going to be a record for phone calls. I've done 75 phone calls. We're only, 11 days in. So, it's just, and everybody I talk to, even though you can tell that they don't have a lot of knowledge, they may be new, they may be asking a question. You have to consider the source. You have to, and a lot of times my impulse is, especially when I can tell people aren't trying to be contentious, but they're kind of challenging you. My impulse right away is to say something, negative, derogatory, and then I have to stop and check myself because, hey, especially if it's somebody new, it's a new listener. Obviously, one way that the fathers open up their eyes to at least hear the spirit of truth, through Pastor Dowell, the YouTube videos. And so they're calling for, most of them call for good terms anyway. So you have to go just deal with them on that level. Hey, I got dealt with on that level when I was coming to faith. So, I can appreciate and try to do the same thing. For every kind of beast and of birds and of serpents and things in the sea is tamed and hath been tamed of mankind. But the tongue no man tame, and is unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Your spirit can tame your tongue, though. The flesh man, the natural man can't do it, but the spirit man can. So just say less. Do more, say less. Anyway, hallelujah. That sounds like Walmart, huh? Do more, say less. Work harder for less pay, but don't say anything. Anyway, I don't want to get off on that. Psalm chapter 25, verses 4 and 5. Psalm 25, verses 4 and 5. Show me thy ways, O Yahweh. Teach me thy paths. You have a supplication. You have Dawid out there. This is what he desires of the Father, right? He says, show me thy ways, O Yahweh. This is his petition. He's in prayer. And this is his heart's desire. I believe that. Show me thy ways, O Yahweh. Teach me thy paths. It should be all of us. Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the Yah of my salvation. But this is the important thing that David understood. On thee do I wait all the day. So even David's asking for these things, and the Father's going to do things. If you want him to order your steps right, which I believe that every true Israelite really desires to have, the Father order, you're going to have to wait on him until it's time. Don't be rash. Don't allow a hasty spirit to take you ahead of what Yah has intended for you, because ultimately, you end up shitting on yourself or whatever the case may be, and you're going to suffer for it for a while. And it's part of the chastisement, and hopefully that you're sustained. I think about all the stuff starts coming to my mind about, and I'm not being hasty speaking. It's just examples that people that have called for counsel, right, and they're making an important decision in their life, and so the Father's using a man to tell them, to give them instruction, somebody they go to that they believe to be a wise man that can give them the right kind of instruction. And they're given the right kind of instruction, but they can't wait, boy. They can't, okay, they say, yes, okay, like the hypocrite. I agree. I'll do that. And the next thing you find out that they totally ignored it, disregarded it, and now they're in big old trouble. and then they're reaching out for help. You'll find out a lot of times when the hand come out, they're going to get slapped a few times before it's actually going to help pick them up. So, yeah, I mean, it can't, yeah, you know, that's how we learn, I guess. Hallelujah. Sometimes the hard way, unfortunately. Psalm chapter 25 verses 20 through 22. Oh, keep my soul and deliver me. Let me not be ashamed, for I put my trust in thee. So again, we have David saying, I put my trust in you, Father. What's that require? That if that is any one task that really can try somebody, is actually waiting and putting the trust, and let the Father work it out. Man, I'll tell you what, because this is an impulsive generation. Again, it's that fast food generation. I want it now. Give it to me now. I'm demanding it now. It's my right. You know the whole 9 yards. Let integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I wait on thee. Redeem Israel, O Yah, out of all his troubles. And it comes to my mind as I'm talking now. It's like I get these calls once in a while. Well, I'll just take it to Yah, Yah in prayer, and take it to God in prayer. But it's like I talked to somebody a couple of weeks ago, and they're talking about getting out of the city and what's required, and because I heard Pastor Dowell mentioning it, and they may have heard other people on YouTube, echoing this truth. It's obvious. Get out of the cities. And biblically, nothing ever good happened in any city. You don't want to be caught in the city. So, pastor's been given instruction for years how to go about doing it, and I'll talk to somebody and I'll give them the same instruction because it's good, wise counsel. Just repeat it back in their ears, and and let them know there is no excuse. Other people have done it. You can do it, because it can be done, because it's been proven time and time and time again by people of all different walks, persuasions, financial status. But all of a sudden you hear that, oh, here it comes. Well, I'm just going to have to pray on it. I'm just going to have to. I'm just going to have to wait on the Father. I got to wait on the Most High. Come on, Jesus. Oh, that's totally backwards. Now, that's not the kind of waiting, because you've already got the instruction, right? Hallelujah. All right. I think y'all understand where I was going. All right. Psalms chapter 27, verses 13 and 14. Psalm 27, 13 and 14. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of Yahweh in the land of the living. So David was waiting something. Even when he had breath in his body, he's not going to faint. He's not going to give up because he is going to see the goodness of Yahweh. Wait on the Most High. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thy heart. Wait, I say, on the Most High. Wait on Yahweh. And, of course, I'm guessing, but I'm pretty confident that come this Passover, we'll be singing this Psalm 37. So if you're not familiar with it or new to the ministry, look it up, because there's a beautiful song that I know it's one of Pastor's favorites, and that usually comes up, and most of the assembly here knows it. So it's taken from this psalm, though, Psalm 27. But again, the context is wait on the Most High. Don't be impulsive, rash. Don't get angry. Ill-willed because you're not getting it when you expect it to get there. You're just going to have to wait. I mean, I know sometimes stuff that I'm like, God, you just, it doesn't take all this. Why can't I have my answer now, And again, the Father's just testing your patience. But, oh, boy, hey, come on, time. Come on, yeah, I need it right now. I'm telling you. Oh, glory to the King. His ways are above our ways, that's for sure. Psalm 37, verses 7 through 9. Psalm 37, 7 through 9 says, rest in Yahweh and wait patiently for him. Just rest. Just be at peace. Fret not thyself because of him who is prospereth in his way. It's not wise for us to compare ourselves against other people because of the man who brings wicked devices to pass. But it looks like he's actually getting someplace. Looks like he's making gains. But what's his eternal reward going to be? Cease from anger and forsake wrath. You know why? Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to wait patiently and in rest and in peace for the Most High to operate in your life. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. Those that are angry, are wrathful, full of fretting. But those that wait upon the Most High shall inherit the earth. The good man waiteth for the fruit of the earth. It's a waiting game, and we wait for the crops to grow. We wait for it so we can eat, and all right, Psalm 69, verse 1 through 3, and we're almost done. Psalm 69, 1 through 3. To the chief musician in Shoshanim, anyway, something like that, the Psalm of David. Save me, O Yah, for the waters are come in unto my soul. I sink in deep mire where there is no standing. I am come into deep waters where the flood overflows me. So obviously David's in a very deep trial and tribulation here, and he's crying out to the Father. And he's describing his circumstances, what he's got going on in his inner man. I am weary of crying. My throat is dry, and mine eyes fail while I wait for my God. He's petitioning, Father, I'm waiting. Please, I'm down to my very last end here. I'm crying. I've been crying so much. My throat's dry. I got nothing more to offer in tears. I feel like I'm abandoned and everything else. And he's saying, I just can't do this much, Father. I'm waiting on you. But the Father knows perfect timing again. So he's going to test and try your patience to see how long you're going to wait on him. All right, Romans chapter 8, verses 24 through 26. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for? But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit itself make intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. Meaning, again, it's just an expression that in your patience possess your soul. Just wait. It'll come. Sometimes, again, like I said earlier, a lot of times those that are in heads of assemblies and the brothers that, that are head of the assemblies, the elders and, pastor here that, sometimes that, we're putting a petition in because we believe it's something that is going to be beneficial. It's something that's necessary. And sometimes it just, it sounds good, but all of a sudden you don't get an answer back right away, or, it's taking a while. It could be that, whoever you're talking to may have forgotten. But a lot of times the fact is that to you it sounds good, so it's the same. What I'm trying to make is, if they hear something and they're not sure about it, they may take it to Father in prayer. So you're waiting for the Father to speak through them to get your answers. So don't be impulsive and don't go beyond and create your own action and do your own thing. Yeah, I remember I did something that years ago. I got a rebuke for it. I had it coming, but, I didn't wait. I thought, well, man, this is ridiculous. I got to be at this place at such and such a time, and I got brothers with me, and we got to go set some stuff up. And pastor said, no, you got to wait. I need to talk to you before you leave. But then he got caught in a conversation, and the time appointed I was supposed to be there it was already getting too late for me to be there at the time. And I thought, well, I don't want to bother him because he's communicating with somebody, and he's having a conversation. It's important. And so what I do, I just took off, and I got halfway, and the phone rang. Uh-oh. I know what this is. And of course, I got a rebuke and had it coming because I should have just been patient, waited. It all worked out just fine, but I learned from that lesson. So I took heed there and tried never ever repeat that one. But anyway, elders got to live life stories too, just like everybody else. So it's all supposed to be good stuff and learning stuff if you take it the right way and don't get offended. But anyway, that concludes tonight's study on a hasty spirit. So again, it's important that we check ourselves for these things, give careful consideration to what we say or how we act or what we do before we actually do it. And if you're having a problem, you can't control it, you're too impulsive, you obviously need some type of deliverance. You've got power already. If because the heart knows its own bitterness, bind the spirit, right? Whatever we shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, loosed on earth, loose in heaven. So you have that power and authority to go ahead and start, and of course, repentance and make yourself ready to get free, set free of that spirit. But anyway, hey, hallelujah. That's enough for tonight. Let me see how I did. I think I talked slower. I really did because I actually went 20 minutes longer with the same amount of pages. So, hey, I'm trying. I can receive correction. Hallelujah. Glory to the King. Hey, it was great to have all you in the room tonight. I hope you enjoyed the study. And what I'm going to start doing is that for people listening. I think it's a good idea. I know that the Help Meets does it, and Ashley does it for Sisters of Sisters. So I'm going to put my email address out there for the chat board. And if anybody has a question or anything that, most of the saints, they call the dining hall. But I do have brethren that communicate through email. They just find this more convenient for them, so I don't mind. But if Brother Paul, you want to put this up there for me, this is all lowercase. My email address is ECCE Echo Charlie Charlie Echo 1213 at yahoo.com. And that's short for Ecclesiastes 12:13. So ECCE 1213 at yahoo.com. And again, appreciate y'all, your integrity, for listening tonight, for giving me the honor to actually speak to you. And I hope you have a good week. Keep yourself encouraged. Keep yourself in the love of Yah, and most importantly, watch your mouth, watch your words, watch your speech, and everywhere, because the devil is going to tempt you to speak rashly, impulsively, judgmentally, all the things that we talked about tonight. And I'll try to get, if you're not dealing with a hasty spirit, try to get one to actually enter in. So, hey, peace in your dwellings, in your houses. Hey, shalom to y'all. The King is coming.
Uh-oh, look at him looking.